Welcome to your practice. This is Yoga TX and I'm Jacq. This practice is a full body flow, so it's just a well-rounded practice. We'll move, we'll breathe, we'll feel good. Find a seat, please, and we'll get started. I like to sit on a blanket, just a little bit of elevation, lifts up the hips a little bit to open the pelvis. And we'll start with a mudra for this practice. So go ahead and interlace your fingers and bring them in front of your heart. You can kind of widen your elbows, and then right away, we've got some effort. See if you can relax your shoulders. So always doing that play between effort and ease. This mudra is called Vajra Pradama Mudra. It's a big word in Sanskrit, and it translates to mean gesture of unshakable trust. And these mudras, these little symbols we take with our hands, activate energy flow in the body. So just like acupressure, like little pressure points in the body, same thing's going on here. So this is about trusting yourself, confidence, trusting your body. We'll settle in here together with this gesture of unshakable faith and trust. And I'll lead us through 3 ohms before we get moving. You're welcome to listen, of course, or join in. Even at home alone, it can be really powerful to let your voice be heard. A very grounding sound. So let's take a big breath in. Keep your mudra and start to awaken a deeper sense of breathing. So your ujjayi breath, this is the breath where we breathe in and out through the nose. And more or less, we want the inhale and the exhale to be equal in length. And maybe you start to hear the sound of your own breath. You know that feeling like if you were to fog up a mirror, like, it's the same kind of feeling we're going for, but keep your mouth closed. And see if you can come back to this breath throughout our whole practice. So let's take another breath in and another breath out. And then inhale, keep the mudra, but lift your chest a little bit, just a little bit. And then as you breathe out, round your spine like cat pose and scoop your palms forwards. You're kind of pressing away. Hug the belly to the spine. As you inhale, sit up tall and stretch your arms overhead. As you exhale, breathe out your mouth, bend your elbows. We'll do this a few times. Inhale, clasp the hands, just lifting the chest a little bit. As you exhale, scoop the palms forward and the belly back. Chin into throat. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, breathe out the mouth. Let this be big. Let's go twice more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Getting energy moving right away. Let's meet on hands and knees. You can set your props off to the side. Arriving with your shoulders above your wrists, but you don't want your shoulders forward of your wrist crease. So that's kind of a good way to measure it for yourself. And then hips are over your knees. And let's take some circles here. So circling to the right. So now your shoulders will pass your wrist crease as you start to circle. It's a full body stretch, it's a full body flow, so feel even your wrists here, your ankles, your fingers, your toesies, everything's kind of waking up. See if you can move a little bit bigger. And it might not look like the way that I'm moving, but just do you. Move your head a little bit. How's the breath? Have you lost the connection already? And if you have, be nice to yourself and just start again. This time, as you breathe out, let your butt land on your left heel. And then stretch your arms over to the right. Feel like it's a crooked child's pose. So your butt is stretching toward your left heel and your arms are stretching toward the right. Let the head release as much as feels comfortable. And then really breathe into your left lung, the left side of your waist. And then as we inhale together and climb back onto all fours, send your right leg out to the right. See if you can place the foot down with the right toes pointing forward. And then rock a little forward and back. If this feels okay, let's tuck the left toes and sit on the left heel. You probably feel a little something something right away in the inner right thigh. Stay or bow. So always we have options. And our practice invites us to trust ourselves, right? So if your body's saying, hold up, slow down, then listen. Or if you have further to explore, always letting it be an exploration, try it out, knowing that you can make a change if you need to. Come back onto your hands and your knees. Untuck your left toes. Take your left hand to the center of your mat space, so it's kind of like underneath your heart, and your right arm to the sky. Take a look-see up there, and we'll thread the needle just like this. So keep your legs as they are. Dive your right arm behind your left, drawing your right ear and shoulder maybe all the way down to the mat. If they don't reach, take a blanket, take a block, and then left arm stretches to the top of your mat. Literally reaching out in all directions here. Feel the back of your right hand press as an encouragement of the twist. So twisting to your left. Right rib cage moves toward the left rib cage. Take one more breath in, spine is long. And then breathe it on out. Start to climb back onto your hands. So lift your chest up. Send your right leg behind you. Floating the toes off the mat. Flex your right foot. Send your left arm forward. Whew. Reach, reach, reach. So we're getting a little sneaky core engagement. A little work for the muscles in the back as well. Stretch again, breathe in. And then elbow toward the knee, breathe out. Let's do one more like that. Breathe in. And breathe it out. Let's do one more inhale to stretch the right leg back. And then step your right foot outside your right hand, so it's a wide step. Your right toes, let them angle out toward the right a little bit. Take a twist. I like to come onto the fingertips of the left hand. Taking a block under the left hand is also great. Reach your right arm all the way behind you. And then inhale, reach your right arm up. Exhale, take your right hand back down to the ground. Let's do this again. So inhale, right arm arcs forward, up and back. And then exhale, it comes back down to the ground. Move with your breath one more time. And then right hand plants back down to the ground. We're stepping forward into a squat. So that means left foot outside left hand. It's an early squat. You might like to pop a block under your tush. I haven't said that word in a long time. A block under your tush to sit up nice and tall. Elbows come toward your inner knees. Let your heart lift. Shoulders relax. So we engage only where we have to, right? Our jaw clenching is never part of any pose. So see if you can let that go. Come back to your breathing. Steady and smooth. Take your hands down to the ground. Point your toes forward. Take a bow. You've got a wide stance. You can set your block off to the side. Step your right foot back. Bring your knee down. Drop your left knee next to your right. Hands and knees is where we'll meet, so just make a little adjustment. We've got some circles again. This time we're moving to the left. or counterclockwise. Start small. See if you can keep all of your fingerprints kind of down on the mat. So the whole hand is an anchor. And then even pay attention to your feet as you start to grow your circles bigger. Notice if your feet are lifting. See if you can keep your big toes glued to the mat. And then get your head moving, get your neck. This time as you circle around, bring your tush toward your right heel. Walk your hands to the top left corner and bow. It's that funny crooked child's pose situation. Let the right waist expand. Think about a fish with gills, right? Breathing in, there's that opening, there's that expansion. And breathing out, there's kind of a softening. One more in. And one more out. Climb back onto your hands. This time the left leg will come out to the left. So right off of your mat, out to the left, point your left toes forward. Find what feels stable. Shoulders are over your wrists, and then you can rock a little forward and back just to say hello to your inner left thigh. Some of us will be feeling this already. And if this rocking is intense, then stay here. If you've got further to check out, tuck your back toes, take a seat. And then the last add-on is to lay the chest forward, walking the hands away from you, dropping your third eye, the center of the forehead, down to the ground. A bowing. Inhale to lift the head, walk the wrists back underneath the shoulders, send your left leg behind you. You can untuck your right toes. So we're on all fours with the left leg lifted. Keep your pelvis even. So what I mean is don't open your left hip. You could even take your right hand to your lower back and see if you can find that evenness by reaching the inner left thigh to the sky. Let's take the right arm forward. How's your breath? Right elbow toward left knee as your exhale. Inhale to reach the limbs away from each other. Exhale, come on in. Put your right hand down, send your left leg back, breathe in, and then we'll step wide, left foot outside the left hand. You could come onto your right fingertips or take a block under the right hand. Send your left arm forward, up, and back. So we just find a big arc in our twist. As you breathe out, retrace your arc, touch your left hand down to the ground. Twice more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe it in. And release it. Some yum-yums for the shoulder there. Set your prop off to the side. We're stepping into a squat, using a block or not. Toes are out, heels are in. Hands can come to your heart. Keep the back of your neck nice and long, and then feel your breath into the whole of your torso, so the entire torso. One more breath in, and one more breath out. Touch the ground. Point your toes forward. As you lift your butt, take a bow, drop your head. Let's take a halfway lift this time. Breathe in. Breathe out to empty. One more time, halfway lift. Move your shoulders away from your ears so your neck is long. And then breathe out. Step your left foot back on an inhale. Let the knee lower softly. Right knee next to left. We'll start on hands and knees again. So just check out your own alignment. A good moment of paying attention to your body. As you inhale, take 2 circles to your right. And then sink your seat to your left heel, stretch your arms to your right. So we'll move through the same sequence, just picking up the pace a little bit. Rise up onto your hands, send your right leg out to the right. Breathe in. As you breathe out, tuck your back toes, take a seat, lay your chest forward. And then inhale, come on up. Right leg behind you, untuck your left toes. Remember, even pelvis. Left arm forward, one time, reach. Breathe out, elbow toward the knee. They might not touch. Reach your right leg back, left hand down. Take a wide step, right foot outside your right hand. Inhale, right arm forward, up and back. This time, maybe you pick up your back foot. Keep turning the chest open. Relax your jaw. Release your back foot. Right hand retraces that arc. Step into your malasana squat, yogi squat, top of the mat. Take a breath in. Breathe out, fold forward. So remember, toes point forward, seat lifts, head drops down. Halfway lift, inhale. Shoulders away from ears. Breathe out to exhale. Heel toe your feet a little closer. We're setting up for chair pose. So if you know what kind of stance you like, great. If you're not sure, take your feet right underneath your hips. Bend your knees like you're sitting in a chair. And then keep your butt in your chair as you lift your chest and your arms. Utkatasana. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Take an inhale breath. And then exhale, mountain pose. Lengthen the legs. Drop the arms by your sides. Find your breath. Take your left hand to your left hip. Starting to shift the weight onto the left foot. Bend your right knee. Right hand catches your right foot. Now, glue your inner knees together, so right knee and left knee. This helps us keep our pelvis even. If you're cool here, take your left hand to your right foot too. Whew. Steady your eyes in one place. That can help us with our balance. So it's a quad stretch. Feel your tailbone move toward your inner knees. And then notice if you want to go right into dancer pose and see if you can break a habit and just be right here. So you're not doing what you always do, you're staying present. We're stepping all the way back to warrior one. So soften your front knee, release the right foot so it can step to the back of your mat. Right toes are at an angle to the top right corner of your space, left knee is bent. Let's take hands to hips. So you can feel if you're turning. You want your right hip to be aiming forward. It won't be square because our body, the bones literally can't do that, but you're wrapping the right hip forward and the right inner thigh reaches back. Take the arms up, inhale. How about a high prayer for this warrior one? Look up, relax your shoulders. Take one more breath in, and then breathe out. Let your hands come down to the ground. How about our old friend, downward dog? Step it back, left foot near your right. Move around a little bit. It's our first downward dog. So pedal out the feet, shake your head. I like to shake my head when we're upside down. It's a good neck release. And then settle into stillness in your downward dog. So let your sit bones lift and your inner thighs reach back. Your arms are nice and long, as if you were stretching the top of your mat forward, but can you keep your shoulders away from your ears? Breathe out completely. And then drop your knees down to the mat. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders, 2 circles to the left. Get back in the zone. Drop your butt toward your right heel. Hands will walk over to your left. Drop your head. Climb back onto your hands. Shoulders are above your wrists. Send your left foot out to the left. Take a breath in. Tuck your back toes. Sink your seat back. Remembering, it's always choose your own adventure. So you know when to stop. You know which pose is good for you. When to deepen. When to stay a little bit back. Rise onto your hands again. Send your left leg behind you. And your right arm forward. Breathe in. Elbow to knee, breathe out. Put your right hand on the ground, left leg back, breathe in. Step your left foot outside your left hand. Left arm reaches forward and then arc it up and back to find that nice wide open twist. Stay or bend your right knee, catch your foot. Turn your chest open. The gaze might come open. You could drop your right ear toward your right shoulder. And then release your foot, left hand to the ground, step forward, squat pose. Toes out, heels in, breath in, and breath out. Point your toes forward, forward fold, lift your seat. Heel toe your feet underneath you. Chair pose or Utkatasana. As you bend your knees, sink your seat back. Feel the front body gather toward the back body. As you sit low, reach your fingertips up and high. So opposite direction between sit bones and fingertips. Mountain pose, hallelujah. Stand on up. Breathing in and breathing out. The weight will come onto your right foot, right hand to right hip, quad stretch. So catch your left foot behind you. Pick one thing to look at with your eyeballs. Glue your inner knees together. Take your right hand to your left foot too. Maybe, baby, you just see how that works for your balance or doesn't work, and then you come back to it. We're stepping into warrior one. Slow transition, right knee bends, step back, hands come to hips. Can help us ground a little bit more. Check in with your feet. If you feel wobbly in this pose, your right foot can heel toe to the right a little bit. So you give yourself space. Right knee has a good bend in it. And feel your back foot as if you could lift the arch of the left foot high. Let's take the arms up. High prayer, look up. So we just give a little more space into the belly. Take your hands down to the ground, downward facing dog. Step it back. Full breath. Full body practice. All right, listen up. We're walking our feet. Nope, that's not what I meant. We're walking our hands to our feet. Walk your hands back to your feet. Keep your feet where they are. We're ending up in a forward fold. So go ahead and bend your knees. You'll notice I cue that a lot. Bending the knees in the folds is protecting our lower back, really. Roll up to stand. Take your arms up, breathe in, reach up. Take your hands to your hips and your right knee into your chest. So balancing. Balancing, sometimes I feel awesome at it. Sometimes it's like this. So if you're like me, give yourself a break. Figure 4, right ankle on top of left thigh. So feel chair pose. It's like a one-legged chair pose. Sit your seat back. You could take your arms up or keep your hands to your hips, whatever's feeling like it's giving you a little more stability. Right foot's flexed, just to keep your leg awake. And then start to stand up again. Take your right foot and put it in the middle of your mat. Take your hands to your heart, warrior 3. Oh, interesting. Tip your chest forward, left leg lengthens behind you. Now, going for even pelvis, just like when we were on hands and knees. So inner left thigh lifts. And then bend your right knee, draw your left knee all the way back up into your chest. Step your left foot to the top of your mat. We've got our dancer pose. So catch your right foot behind you. Don't rush it. Inner knees come toward each other, left arm up to the sky. This is cool. This is enough. If you want to stay here, great. If you have further to explore, kick your right foot into your hand as you start to tip your chest forward. This is a back bend. It is not a hip opener. So don't open your right hip. See if your right hip can aim forward and slightly down, just like we talked about in Warrior 1. Take one more breath here. And then slowly release, coming to stand. Mountain pose, but for sure, it's a shake it out moment. Shake it out of the body, shake it out of the breath. Feel your feet on the ground. You might take a minute to let the eyes close. Feel your heart beating, feel your blood pumping. You're alive. It's pretty awesome. Take your arms up, breathe in. Take your hands through heart center all the way into a fold. Step your right foot to the back of your mat, and then downward facing dog, please. Step it back. Take an inhale, long arms, sit bones lift high. Breathe out, walk hands to feet, back of the mat. Fold. Drop your head right from the back of your head, let it go. And then bend your knees and roll up to stand. Hands to hips. Weight will come into your right foot. Yes. Left knee into your chest. Find your breath. Figure 4. Neck is long, so back of the neck is long. So I'm not looking straight ahead of me. I'm looking forward, slightly down. So check that out for you too. How can you keep space in the back of the neck, sides, and the front of the throat so that you can breathe fully? Maybe your arms stretch up. Prayer to your heart. Step your left foot to the center of your mat. Warrior 3. Tipping the chest forward and the right leg back. Inner right thigh lifts up so you keep the hips even. You could stretch your arms forward or keep your hands on your hips, but keep your eyeballs steady. Let's take one more strong breath. You got this. Soften your left knee to bring your right knee to your chest. Last balancing pose, right foot steps to the top of the mat. Whew, dancer pose, here we go. Catching the left foot behind you. Steady eyeballs, steady breath. Inner knees come close, right arm can reach up. Stay or tip forward. It's like you're reaching forward but also up with your right arm. And then your left foot kicks into your left hand. Left outer hip carves forward. And then let it go. Let it go, shake it out, get your wiggles out. It takes a lot of focus. Feel your feet on the ground, feel your energy. Feel your body strong and able. Inhale, send your arms up. Exhale, let's step into a Malasana squat. So just adjust your feet slightly, toes out, heels in, sink your seat low. Let your heart get bright. And then release your hands behind you so you can help yourself sit back down onto the ground and bring the soles of your feet together. If your hips feel uncomfortable, you could use blocks underneath the outer thighs. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel long spine. And then we'll take a bow. You can walk your hands forward any amount. Drop your head. You don't have to be super flexible. Flexibility in your body has nothing to do with yoga. Flexibility in your mind and your attitude has everything to do with yoga. So let yourself be just as you are. Let the face release. Many of us hold a lot of tension in the face. So let that go. Lift your head, lift your heart, sit back up tall. Send your left leg forward. And then step your right foot outside your left thigh. We're taking a twist here. So right arm will come behind you. You can hug your right knee in toward you. If If you want to hook the elbow, that's cool. I can't breathe as well here, so I like to hug, make sure I can sit up nice and tall, and then maybe you look behind you. On your breath out, let's untwist, look forward. Listen up, take your left knee, bend it as you sweep your left foot outside your right hip. And then this will be tricky for some of us. Can your knees stack? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you take a block to give yourself some support. So this is called Gomukhasana in the legs. Starting to feel something in your outer hip. You can stay here, or if you have a little bit more room to move, you can fold, okay? So the feet are flexed, the knees stack-ish, and then you can start to take it forward. Now, if you are like many bodies and this is not accessible, you could also keep your bottom leg long and still start to lay your right knee forward and take a bow. So whatever you got, we can work with it. And then we don't have to stay here too long because it's a doozy. Start to lift your head, sit back up. Let's take hands behind us, feet to the ground, windshield wiper. Take any little wiggles or movements that you need. Right leg forward. Sit up tall as you take your left foot outside your right thigh. So with the long leg, flex your foot so nothing's kind of gone to sleep. Everything's awake. Twist to your left. And then sit up tall on an inhale. On an exhale, maybe you twist a little deeper. You can start to turn the gaze behind you. So from tailbone right through the top of your noggin, you're nice and long. And every time you breathe out, you feel your belly hug toward your spine a little bit, welcoming the revolution of the rib cage, turning toward your left. On your next exhale, untwist, look forward again, and we'll find that funny knee stacking situation or your version of it. Okay, so the right knee bends, swinging the right foot toward the left side of your mat. And then you just play with your depth here. It's important that your sit bones sit equally onto the ground. So just make sure you're not leaning too much. You could also take a blanket underneath you to help that evenness. Stay or fold. One more breath. Let your head lift, let your heart lift, sit up tall, untangle yourself and do whatever you need to do. Just let it wiggle out. Let's come onto our backs. We're setting up for rest. So if you like to take a bolster under your knees, or sometimes I like to take a block over the belly, helps me ground down a little bit. Get yourself set up. Let your palms rest open so the chest is open. Take a big breath out and rest. Let your Savasana, let your restful place serve you today, so staying as long as you'd like. And when you're ready to close your practice, take your time as you move and you begin to exit the pose. Rolling over onto one side and slowly making your way back up to a seat. Let's take Vajra Pradama Mudra, so interlacing the fingers, this gesture of unshakable trust. Taking with you a remembering to pause, to listen to your breath. Let's take one big breath in together and then an open mouth exhale. You can turn your hands into a prayer. Take a little bow if you'd like, thanking the practice itself. You say thank you to you for showing up, and I will see you next time. You can follow me on Instagram at Mindfulish, check out my website, mindfulish.org, and I'll see you soon.